Dr. Frank Gomez again on Tuesday around noon-ish. And yeah, man, Dr. Frank Gomez in the house. And this is... Yo, boy! Just wanted to say that. This is the Wellness Connection, where we talk about everything wellness, health, fitness, and everything in between. We're here on churchtalkradio.com. And we're also on Facebook Live if you choose at Total Health Wellness Center. Just plug that into the browser on Facebook and hopefully we're there. So if anybody doesn't know me, again, my name is Dr. Frank Gomez. I've been a chiropractic physician for 32 years or so, probably a little more now. And I have an office in Sayville on Sunrise Highway, 4844 Sunrise Highway in Sayville, and my phone number there is 631-991-3492. If you have any questions afterwards and you'd like to ask me, just give the office a call and I'll be sure to give you a call back. In the meantime, if you have any questions on the radio, our number here is 631-766-99. Wellness and weight loss fitness portion of this show. And today we're going to be talking about strength training. One of my favorite things. Because back in the 80s, which was a long time ago, I was a national level bodybuilder and powerlifter. One of my heydays, I guess you could say, was good. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and some of the things you can do and how that relates to your health and fitness, and also how it relates to your weight loss. So with that said, let's dive right in. And the single most biggest measure of longevity is actually how much muscle mass you have. All right, because as we get older, what happens to our muscle mass? It decreases under normal circumstances. Even though I'm still in the gym and I go 5 days a week, and and I'm actually more smarter now than I was 30 years ago about what I'm doing, I'm not as strong and my muscle mass isn't the same. At 56 years old, it's different than when you're 26 years old. Even though I don't like to admit it, and sometimes my brain doesn't tell me when I go to the gym and I start going a little heavy and then I get hurt. And I don't know if that's just a guy thing or a old bodybuilder mentality, but not a good. Anyways, so strength training, what that will do for you is one of the first things that actually strength training does is it builds your bone density. Because what you're doing is you're creating a force and you're putting it on your skeletal system. And your body adapts to everything that you do. And in this particular instance, when you're putting force on the body with extra weight, the body has to adapt by making your skeletal structure stronger to handle the forces that you're putting on it. So if you have any kind of osteoporosis, which is you're starting to lose bone density, and as we get older we tend to do that, and a lot of times you go to the doctor and then they tell you, you got to take these medications or you got to take these supplements. Those things are great, but something that's much better to do is go to the gym or start doing some resistance training at home, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, your energy will increase. Well, how does your energy increase? Well, the more muscle that you have on your body, the more energy you have, because now you have more what they call mitochondria, which are the energy powerhouses of the body, and that's inside your muscle cells. And then that's where all the energy happens. That's where they take the glucose and the sugars and they change them to glycogen, and glycogen is used for energy. If you ever remember way back when, in the beginning, we talked a little bit about that. When we were talking about carbohydrates, we talked about proteins and your fats. Just as a quick review of those, if you remember, we talked about carbohydrates being like gasoline. The only thing you can do with it is store it like in your tank in your car, or you burn it. and that's it. The same thing with your body. You can only store it or burn it. Excessive carbohydrates are stored as fats because that's what your body needs to use for energy. And you talk about proteins and building blocks, are the basic building blocks of what the body uses to repair and repair breakages. Like if you break your bones and you have to build new bone, or you pull a muscle, you tear a muscle, whatever, proteins are the number one thing that are used to rebuild all that, and also between workouts. And fats, we talked about having proper fats, like peanut butter, like organic peanut butter or almond butter. Avocados are a great source, nuts and some berries. But you have to have good fats in your body. And we talked about percentages. Now, you don't have to go crazy with the percentages, but you try looking at 40% proteins, 30% carbohydrates, 30% fats. That's a pretty good basic place to start with that. And we talked a little bit about flexibility, how important flexibility is. You could do it before or after. And then we talked about aerobic exercise. Right? Now, anything that's aerobic is anything that puts a strain on your cardiovascular system to make that stronger. You'll notice, like when you start, the first week you ever did a cardiovascular training, you could probably last 5 minutes on the treadmill. And then after even a month, you see a huge difference as your body starts to adapt and create more oxygen, and then you can go longer. So, and then there's a difference between cardiovascular and, aerobics and cardio. Now you see a lot of people on treadmills and they go for half hour, hours, and whatever. That's more cardio, and what we're trying to do there is get the body to break your fats down into ketones, and then they use those ketones, and your body uses them like your heart will suck them up, your brain will suck them up, and whatever's left over, your body can excrete that. So the fat, we're using that to break down your fats, and you have to do that at least at the 20-minute mark. Once you get past the 20-minute mark, then that's when your body starts to really get into the fat reserves. So, there's all those things that are involved in a fitness program. But let's get back to the strength training portion of this. So obviously you increase your muscle mass and your body maintains strong. What I tell everybody is, you take care of your body for the first 50 years and it'll take care of you, the next 50 years after that. Well, we kind of hope it will anyway. And if you're older, it doesn't mean it's too old to start. Any age you could start and make yourself better. It's shown that seniors now, at 56, I don't really know what you call a senior. I know when I was 26, I was a senior at 56. So, a funny story, real quick. My mom, God bless her soul, she was in a little fender bender in the parking lot. She was pulling out, and she got a little fender bender, and she called me up, didn't know what to do. My mom's like 76 years old, and she said, an old lady hit me. So I'm the, old lady. I said, Mom, what's the old lady? She goes, oh, she's like 90 years old. So, I guess all age is relative. Like for me, 60 is not that old anymore, So anyways, getting back to the story here. I keep saying seniors who do strength training are found actually to fall less because they have more muscle and more coordination. And as we get older, we hear a lot of people that they get older and then they fall and they break a hip or whatever. That's because, one, they probably have osteoporosis, and two, they don't have enough muscle coordination, because from sitting around really not doing much of anything, you tend to lose that. So, weight training. How do we could do? What should we do if we're going to just starting out and we want to weight train? The fun thing about weight training is there's just, especially if you're in the gym, there's so many different things that you can do. Like literally hundreds of exercises just for one body part. So you can always find something that you can do, regardless of your age or your injuries. I know for me, and I can only talk for me because I'm the only one sitting here right now. Well, all those years of powerlifting and it took its toll. Probably in the last 16 years, I've had like 12 operations. just about all the joints in my body, because they took a beating. And if somebody told me that back then that I would have all these issues, I still would have did it because it was fun. Traveling around the country and doing these shows, and it was a cool experience doing all that. And I could still go to the gym, and I have to be, there's so many different things, like I said, and you have to kind of adapt your body to certain exercises, but you can always find something to do. So even if you wanted to stay home, say, and you're just starting out, by the way, if you have any questions and on the Facebook thing, you can leave it in the comments and I'll get back to you. And again, the phone number to call in is 631-766-9931. I'll try to remember to keep shooting that out if anybody wants to give a call or leave a comment. You can just use your own body weight. You can do you can do push-ups and different variables of push-ups. You can get something that you can hang in the doorway. You can do pull-ups, and you can do squats. You can do what's called an air squat, where you're just standing up, and you can get a chair, and you can keep your back nice and straight and just squat down and just touch the chair, and then push your stand up again, and then go back down, and then you stand up again. And then in the beginning, that's how you get your body to coordinate to the exercises that you're doing. And then push-ups, there's so many different kinds of push-ups to do. You can do close grip push-ups, far grip push-ups, overhead kind of thing push-ups. You can hit different parts of your body just doing push-ups. Triceps, such as the back of your arm, your shoulder joints, and obviously your chest. And anything that you do, first of all, actually, you should have a physical done. I forgot to say that about this whole thing. I should be saying that in the beginning. Is go to the doctor and get a complete physical. When was the last time you had a complete physical? Let them do with everything they have to do. They can take blood, they can do EKGs, they can find all this stuff to make sure that you're actually capable of doing the exercise that you want to do. And anything that you do, you got to start off slow. You don't want to be weekend warrior and go into the gym, work out for 2 hours, and you've never done it before, you haven't done it for years, and then the next day you can't get out of bed because every muscle in your body aches. I've had that happen even over the years, and especially when I was training legs. I was like the king of legs. Nobody wanted to train legs but me. We used to throw up or just push it to the max. But there were times where the next day after I trained legs, I literally, when I was going to the bathroom, would have to hold on to the vanity or something because it was so sore that I couldn't sit down. And that's not good. So I'm not saying that was good. That's not a good thing. And then Google. You can go on Google and basically Google anything these days. With the internet, there is one site that I particularly like the best. It's the gentleman's name is Jeff Cavalier. He's a physical therapist, and he's had his show. It's called Athlean X, ATHLEAN, one word, space X, and he's been doing it for years, and he has so many videos up, and they're usually pretty short, under 10 minutes. So it's easy to watch, and he has a lot of great tips. Very rarely do I actually conflict on some of the things that he says, but from my experience, he's usually dead on, and I actually still learn stuff from him. He's very scientific with his approach, which is really cool, and he has a lot of data to back up some of the things that he says. And if you just look at the dude, he could tell that 365 days a year, the man has like 4 or 5% body fat. He's like totally ripped, and that's really cool. I mean, that's his life, and that's his livelihood, and he should be like that, but that's really hard to do. When I was competing, I didn't want to do that. I mean, it'd be great to look like that all the time, but I didn't want to put the effort in to actually go out and do that and look like that 24/7, 365 days. But, how to get bigger arms or bigger biceps or chest, or how to burn fat better, any of that stuff. He discusses all those things, and he has some great programs that you can buy. So, he's really good. So let's get back to this. We were talking, and once you have graduated through the body weight stuff, and then you want to go to the gym, make sure you go to a gym that has somebody that's going to teach you what to do. There's so many gyms out there that I see these new people come in and they sign their contracts, and then they go out and they have no idea what they're doing. Yeah, nobody helps them. So usually a good gym will have some kind of trainer that'll give you a free day or something like that to take you through some of the exercises or the equipment, because it can be very intimidating sometimes. If you look, like nowadays, there's so many different kinds of pieces of equipment. It wasn't like years ago when we used to walk in the gym, you had a treadmill and you had free weights everywhere. Free weights, by the way, is still the way to go. Definitely the way to go, because you'll build coordination while you're using the weight, because you got to balance the weight. You got to use your core to keep your body nice and straight and keep that form. Now, form is also very important. You don't want to break your form when you're working out, and especially when you have resistance on the bar, because you break down your form and you can get hurt. That's plain and simple. You want to prevent the injuries and make sure that when you're out there, that your form is proper. One of the things that I always tell people is make sure that your stomach is tight while you're training. Even if you're sitting on a machine, say you're sitting up and you're doing like a bench press, and make sure your back is straight, make sure your shoulders are up, and keep your stomach nice and tight. That will keep your spine really nice and tight as well. Again, as a chiropractor, the last thing that you want to do is get hurt. One, it'll keep you out of the gym, and then two, you got to come see me, and we can fix you up and get you back. But injuries are never fun. So once you get a program going, you'll get into that routine, and people especially in the beginning, like, oh, it's very mundane. I got to get up, and then I got to get my stuff together, and and I put it in the bag, and I got to go to drive, and I got to go to the gym, and then I got to find a place to park, and then I got to go in and put my stuff in a locker, and change my clothes, and go work out, and take a shower, and attend. And if you look at anything break it down into a process like that, that's no fun. You don't want to do anything. But after a while, like I've been doing it for so long, for me to go to the gym, I get up and I go, and that's it. I'm an early bird, so today I was up by 4:15, and I get myself up. I take care of my little doggies, and then I'm off to the races. And you'll be surprised, 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, how many people are in the gym these days. It's so cool to see. And you make a lot of friends too. But you got to talk to them. I noticed two people that walk around the gym that I've seen, and nobody talks to each other. I don't know, maybe I'm the aberration. I talk to everybody. And then, I like talking to people. Meeting new people is a great thing. God put all these people on earth. Why not talk to them? Friends are hard to come by. You never know who you're going to meet that can help you, or somebody that you can help. So, all right. So let's say now you got your routine, and you go in, and you want to prevent muscle soreness. That's huge, right? Especially in the beginning. So you have to stay really well hydrated. As a matter of fact, I think what we're going to do next week is we're going to talk about hydration, because that's really important. Because if you get dehydrated, one of the first symptoms actually from dehydration is headaches. And then people come in my office and they're like, I'm taking these pills, I'm taking Aleve and Tylenol, and I still got a headache. And my first question is, how much water do you drink? And most of the time, I don't like water. How can you not like water? It don't taste like anything, but a lot of people don't like water. What do they drink? Well, they'll put some Splendor in it, or put Crystal Light, right? And that's all full of artificial sweeteners. And we talked about that too, how artificial sweeteners, a lot of them are carcinogenic, and a lot of chemicals in it, and the chemicals build up in our bodies, and then we have all kinds of issues. So actually water is the only thing that we should drink. Actually, if you think about it, as a mammal, all other than ourselves, all mammals drink what? Water. Unless they're infants, and then they drink the milk of their whatever their species is, and that's another thing. As humans, we drink other animals' milk. Nobody else does that. So water is actually the only thing you should be drinking. And diet sodas, same thing. Aspartame in it. Aspartame, you drink enough. I know somebody used to drink like freaking 6-pack of Diet Coke every single day. And he started getting symptoms, and he thought he had not muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, because he had all the symptoms. And went to the doctor, and they said, oh yeah, you're starting to get the symptoms or whatever. And that was only the symptoms. He didn't have the disease. And once we got him off the aspartame and got him on our wellness program, which I'll talk about in a minute, he started getting better. And then here's the kicker. When he went to the doctor and they said, wow, you're getting better. And he said, I guess the medication's working. He said, Doc, I'm not taking medication. Because then what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm going to see this Dr. Gomez and his wellness program. And they use diet, nutrition, and very specific supplementation. And the doctor was like, I can't believe some people still think this. They're like, oh, that nutrition, the vitamins, that's a waste. That don't even work. Vitamins don't work. You can get all your stuff from if you eat good food. And you can get a lot of stuff if you know what you're eating, but you can't get everything anymore. Matter of fact, our grandparents, if they ate 1 orange, we need to eat 8 oranges to get the same vitamin C that they got eating 1 orange, because the ground is so depleted, because we turn over so fast. It's all about the money, right? So, you just got to be careful with that, and foods and organics, and do the best you can. So, hydration. So, how much water should I drink? Well, a standard level is 1 quart of water. 1 quart of water. I was going to say 1 quart of oil. This is my car. 1 quart of water per 50 pounds of body weight. But you shouldn't go over 3 quarts. So, like 96 ounces would be like the top end on that. And it all depends too. If you're sedentary, you would drink less. But we're talking about weight training here, or specifically strength training and working out. So 1 quart of water per 50 pounds of body weight. Keep yourself hydrated, and make sure you drink before you go to the gym and have enough water. I see people walking around like in the gym. They have these little gallon jugs, like they're gonna dehydrate and shrivel up for working out for like an hour and a half. You don't have to do that. So you take care of that a little bit. And vitamin C is a real good thing. Antioxidants a must if you're working out. Again, my office, what we do is we take very comprehensive blood tests, and we'll find out exactly what your body is deficient in, where it's at, and there might be things on there that you didn't even know, because disease and other things can be picked up in the blood before they actually start to produce any symptoms. Actually, I had a patient come in to see me yesterday for the wellness program, and she has cancer. Now, I don't know what we're going to be able to do. Sometimes we can help. It depends on what level. But she can definitely be healthier while she's going through the chemo and eating the right foods and taking the right supplementation than not. So that's really what she's looking at. She's better while she's going through all that. So now we have the warm-up flexibility, right? And that's before you actually do the weight training. Now, what I do is I like to do some aerobics, not cardio, aerobics for like 15 minutes. I do what's called HIIT, H-I-I-T. It's called high-intensity interval training. Well, I'll blast it for 20 seconds, and then I'll rest. I'll go really slow for 10, and I'll go back and forth. That creates your body to actually adapt a lot faster than if you're just going all out for 15 minutes, believe it or not. So that'll get my heart pumping, that'll get my body temperature up, and the blood pumping, and the muscles all nice and warmed up and ready to go. I tend to do the flexibility stuff after I work out. That's just me, but you can do it before if you wish. But I just like to, once I'm warmed up, I like to hit the gym, hit the weights. So how many times you're actually doing it? Example, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10. So I'm going to do it 10 times and then put it down, and I'll rest like 30 seconds or a minute, or depending on if you're training for strength or not, you can actually rest up to 3 minutes or so. So